Tuning in to the online broadcast network, AFTERBUZZ TV. Over 20 million weekly downloads in over 150 countries, and your number one source for after-show entertainment. AFTERBUZZ TV, the destination for TV superfans. Producing after shows for over 300 of your favorite TV shows, interviewing celebrities and showrunners, and bringing you behind-the-scenes exclusives. All thanks to E! Entertainment's Maria Menounos, producer Kevin Undergaro, and internet leader Akamai. Now, let the buzz begin!
I'm just gonna let that go for a moment because I get the feeling that's a lot of people's nostalgia. Hello, AfterBuzz TV fans, and welcome to yet another episode of the Transformers Robots in Disguise After Show. We are covering Episode 11, Adventures in Bumblebee-Sitting, which basically tells you exactly what's gonna happen, let's be real.
The title of this episode didn't leave much of the plot to the imagination, if you will.
No.
I was like, wow, they're going for the 80s throwback with Adventures in Babysitting. Was that an 80s movie or was it early 90s?
Adventures in Babysitting. It may have
feel like
been
it's early 90s.
90s.
It wasn't quite insane enough to be 80s.
In any case, it's a nostalgic throwback.
Yes, it
That
is.
movie was ridiculous.
It totally was.
Joining me today in the booth is Alexis the Wrecker Torres.
Hey everybody, you can find me all over, I'm trying to do too many things in here. You can find me all over the interwebs as atorres890.
Emma the Speedster Fyffe.
Hello, you can find me all over the internet at Emma Fyffe.
Megan Lord Megantron Salinas.
Yeah. You can tweet at me at the Mengman, that's TheMenguin.
And I am Katie Kia Prime Cullen. You can find me on Twitter at Kiaxet, that's Kiaxet. We are using the live chat and YouTube. We are checking the hashtag today. It is ABTVRID. Please tweet us using that hashtag. If you have questions or comments or just have something witty to say, let us know and you may well get a shout out on the show.
We're also keeping an eye on the hashtag ABTVRID.
That is literally what I just said.
Sorry. I got distracted by the actual
live chat. Okay, yeah, Lord Megantron is not quite all here today.
Yes.
She's Starscream's taking over right now.
My coffee's gone.
What
It
a
makes me
bummer.
sad.
I still have like 3/4 of a cup. I gotta make it last.
I'm just looking at the Frozen video right now, and it's a horrible shot of me. Yay! We're all really super distracted, but we're a little more on task than B was this past episode.
Oh, boy.
Holy cow!
Oh, yeah.
I don't have that, Alexis. She's giving me notes and she's lovely, but I don't have the piece of paper required, and that's on me. So yeah, what did we think of this episode?
This one, it was really cute. I love just Will's voice acting in this episode.
It was fantastic.
It went from Terry McGinnis to Ron Stoppable, which I feel like is a really big spectrum for him. So it was really nice to hear both of those voices in the same episode.
Yes.
I also felt like in this episode that this trope of the adult character being reduced to a childlike state is something that I surprisingly haven't seen in a while. Like, it's something that was very, very popular, I feel, in like 90s cartoons.
Yeah.
I remember a Rugrats episode being like that. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, where the adults were behaving like the babies. And it was kind of fun, I thought, to revisit this trope. I don't know, I liked it.
It's been a long time since I've seen anything like that.
Yeah.
I've been on the internet often enough and in enough RP circles to be like, oh yeah, this again. This is something that has never quite gotten out of my fictional intake.
All right.
But for as much as I was expecting to go into this episode and be like, okay, it's gonna be... I laughed really hard at some of the jokes.
Oh, yeah.
I was not expecting to enjoy some of these as much as I did.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the writing overall in this show is extremely strong. I mean, that to me is one of the strongest points of this show, is it really is very clever and very funny, and this episode was certainly no exception.
Just the, how did my babysitters keep me busy? And then sitting him in front of the TV was just like, that is some social commentary right there, but it's funny.
Talk about B's expression the entire time. It was the
when he was watching
thing.
the Western, oh my gosh, it was crazy. Well, and I also loved, too, when the concept of babysitting came up in the first place, and Grimlock's reaction
sitting on a child.
Yes.
That was strong arm. I have this written down. We're all gonna have to babysit. Sit on a child?
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
I did love that this was both an episode for Strong Arm and Sideswipe, not having to deal with being in direct conflict with each other.
Oh,
they
my
were getting
gosh,
their own
yes.
individual development, which we got for Strong Arm and Sideswipe respectively in the last 2 episodes. But it was nice to see them both progress, because we have Sideswipe who's like, yay, I finally have, he kind of has a cohort in the form of this younger bee, and Strong Arm who immediately leaps to be like, yes, I'm the leader in this temporary position, kind of going, oh, okay, maybe I shouldn't have been so quick to jump into that.
And this is a comment I made more than once watching it is, this is what he puts up with you two.
Well,
That is accurate.
The shoe is on the other foot. I just feel bad for Grimlock this whole episode.
Yeah, he got the short end of the stick this time around, huh?
He was enjoying the roundup, though, in the carnival. And I have to say that I personally enjoy that ride, too. So it's like, oh, they're on the roundup. Oh, I can see exactly how this is. Yep. Yeah, that is a thing. And oddly enough, when it comes to carnival rides, that one doesn't ever show up in media. So it's actually kind of nice to see it.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that scene as well. I liked all of the stuff in the carnival at the end. I thought that was a great way to frame the ending. Once again, talking about how, the show is extremely clever and just putting it in that framework. Once again, that's like bringing me back to the 90s with like the trope of the adult acting like a child, and here we are in a carnival. And I spent a lot of the 90s at carnivals.
Carnival without
Tell me you were going to the carnival?
Yeah.
It's just like, you couldn't fit on the rides, dude.
Mm-hmm. We had a lot of comments in the live chat before we got started talking about, what B must have been like as a younger kid, and how the rest of Team Prime had to deal with that.
I'm going to bring this up. B is a speedster.
His behavior. Well, and actually, and somebody even said that in the live chat. So Yellow Bumblebee 32 said, considering Bumblebee is the hotshot archetype, that they thought that this plot line was pretty appropriate.
Yeah, and as much as I call you the speedster, I'm joking, right?
Are you though?
I am. I do love you. And if you start playing practical jokes on me, all bets are off.
Classic Emma.
I was just, eating popcorn, waiting for when Sideswipe was going to be tired of putting up with B like this.
Yes.
Because it's getting a taste of your own medicine.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Totally backfires.
I was expecting it to be worse than it was.
I figured it was probably going to escalate to the point where it's all fun and games until somebody gets hurt, and it never really got to that point.
Yeah, nobody ever really got hurt.
It was just kind of obnoxious.
But I thought the prank that made Sideswipe go, okay, I am completely finished with this, was going to be worse than running through a mud puddle and getting you dirty.
I did like how he was like, I'm not stepping in that. That is going to be a thing. That's a trap. I see where this is going. And then to just have B come in from out of nowhere and then just go and then turn around and come back.
It's just one of those... But it's payback for what happened in that one short. So have you guys been... I showed them to you. Have you been watching the shorts?
No, I have not seen the shorts. And actually, Sky Shimmertail was saying, hey, can we talk about the shorts if we've seen them? I have been not on the internet for the past few days, and I have some catching up to do.
They came out a couple weeks ago, and they're just little character moments, and they're all really funny. The one with Grim and Fix-It, I think, made the rounds for all of us.
Oh. Yes, I have seen that one.
That was glorious.
Yeah.
That one's adorable. There's one where he sits down for hours trying to come up with a good battle cry.
Phrase. Yeah, I saw. Okay, I'm such a liar. I've seen these shorts. I don't know why I thought I was envisioning claymation something else.
Alexis,
and you saw the one with
No, I have not.
You need to. They're great. They're on the Hasbro site. But you've seen the one with B in the car wash.
I don't think I've seen the bee in the car wash one. I saw the one where he was trying to come up with a catchphrase.
He gives a ride to Denny, who's eating an extremely messy burger and fries. It's like he got everything animal style and then ate it in the car. And everyone who's not in California is like, what are you talking about? In and out. Animal style means there's essentially sauce and onions on everything.
It's delicious.
And it's delicious, but it also requires a fork.
Yeah.
And lots and lots of napkins.
Oh, so he essentially makes this awful, awful mess in B's Bee's cab and leaves, and poor Bee's just like, oh, so dirty.
Me.
Spends the next, assumedly, hour or so in a car wash, but we just see the time skip of him going back and forth. It's called a napkin. We have them on Cybertron.
I did just love how he's like, Clay.
And he finally comes out all nice and clean, and then Sideswipe just swings by and gets mud all over him, and he just turns around and goes back in the car.
Right.
wash.
Hence,
It's like the best 2.5 minutes of my life.
hence the payback in this episode.
Exactly.
To Sideswipe.
See, it all came full circle.
It did come full circle.
I did also love in this episode when Bee first got stuck with the quill and he's sort of like fainting and came up with a catchphrase and Grimlock's reaction.
That's his worst one yet.
Which, I did like how the kind of setup for him getting this in the first place was that he was trying to save Grim. Because could you imagine how, because the venom affects everybody differently. Could you imagine what would have happened if we had Grimlock as the one affected?
Well, we've already had one episode with Grim acting out of character, so it wouldn't have happened.
Well, that's a little
Other
different.
side of the fourth wall.
That's mind control. If this one had made Grim an infant, that would have been so cute because he's already kind of,
I can just see him going around asking everyone, "Are you my mama? Are you my mama?" Like little birds.
Yeah, he probably would have actually been a lot less harmful in some ways than
I
Bee.
disagree. He's wild, but he has some modicum of self-control.
Yeah.
Children don't.
Yeah.
As we saw this whole episode.
I know.
So let's go back to the beginning and talk a little bit about Quillfire, because we get him right away.
Yeah.
And it's another case of, oh, there's the Decepticon. Is that what they sound like? Which sets the tone immediately. Because with a voice like that, he's not going to be a threat.
Which he's actually kind of adorable because he's like this wannabe anarchist.
Yes.
And like it's so funny because the description that Fix-It gives does not at all fit like what the way the character is acting, because I hear like anarchist and I think of just nothing
V
but
for Vendetta.
Yeah,
like
totally.
a really destructive force.
Right, and I feel like the most destructive thing he did was try to set some elephants free.
Well, and also put his little logo on, which, okay, that was a really nice little design.
That
Not gonna
was.
lie. That looked great.
I did like how it was like a little Zorro moment for him. He would take a quill and like mark his insignia and then be off into the night. It's like, but you're kind of dumb.
He's like a Redditor. If you kind of get, and every Redditor watching this is like, hey, I'm like, no, you all have the 14-year-old on their boards with 0 life experience who thinks that they're just going to be the greatest thing ever and that authority shouldn't be a thing, yada, yada, yada. It's the idealized anarchy without actually understanding that even without an actual system of government, anarchy still needs to function. So it's not... Ideal anarchy is not rioting in the streets, take what you want, etc.
Right.
Ideal anarchy is there's no one involved and there's no one governing, but we all still kind of get along and self-govern and help each other. And that's ideal anarchy. This is a guy who just hears no government and goes, no king, la da 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 da. Think about
nice
it.
Reference.
You know that's it.
Nice reference.
Good.
I that makes me wonder in terms of whether or not this character will come back again, because
I think he will.
Steeljaw's collecting, his own little forces, and so if they bring him back, I'm wondering if he's the type of person that will take orders, and I don't really think so.
I can imagine Steeljaw kind of turning that as I'm your brother, because the brother thing carries a lot more weight than I'm in charge, and go against the Autobot oppressors.
Totally. I agree with you on that, Katie, because I feel like based on your previous comments, I think that you really nailed it, saying this character is kind of like a 14-year-old kid's idea of anarchy. So Steeljaw would just have to manipulate that a little bit and be like, no, I'm not your leader. I'm your pal. I'm on your team. I want to break down society also. And then...
And let's be real, 14-year-olds with big ideas are super easy to string along.
Speaking of, doesn't it feel like, much like our cast of Autobots is very young, doesn't it feel like our Decepticons are really young, too? At least in some way. Not all of them, because Underbite, he had an ego trip, and Thunderhoof and Steeljaw certainly don't feel young, but a couple of the other ones do. And if they don't feel young, they're just straight up crazy.
That's what I was going to say. I'm not sure that I necessarily feel that the Decepticons are young, but I feel like most of them have some serious personality disorders going on.
Like they've been isolated for a long time.
Yeah, maybe you bring up a good point though. Like, because I was thinking, I was like, why are all of these Decepticons just insane? And I mean, we see a little bit of insanity with Fix-It. They've obviously been in isolation for quite some time. So
I wonder if there are any negative effects for being in stasis for so long.
Because Fix-It, I don't think was in stasis.
No.
I think he was conscious and alone the whole time, which is a special kind of torture, but he's a mini-con and they're not people, right? According to Cybertron, evidently.
Cybertron sucks.
Well, and this was a crack that I made earlier, and I'm thinking more and more like, I wonder if that was the case. They just put Quillfire away because, we need to keep the status quo, and anyone who talks like this is dangerous.
Yeah, I mean, that absolutely could be the case because as mentioned in the first episode, you make a left-hand turn on Cybertron and you get in
can't
trouble
make
for
a
it.
left-hand turn without breaking a regulation.
It makes me wonder if old Cybertron is a lot like the Cybertron that we have now, because we didn't get a whole lot of Cybertron back in the day, but it was enough to start a war.
Yeah.
And so
they also had gladiatorial pits, which you have a society with gladiatorial pits, and I think you inherently have problems there. Because
most likely.
we're gonna watch other people fight to the death. This is great.
To me, that sounds like totalitarian empire territory, but that's neither here nor there.
Little bit.
Yeah, no, Megatron could have very well been like the star of his own little gladiator movie.
It feels like the Alchemore is the place where they put all the Decepticons who may not have been super dangerous, hungry like the wolf and Uncle PJ excluded. But I can't say that without cracking up. That's the best nickname. But ones they just wanted out of the way. Here's the crazy treasure hunter guy with acidic skin. Well, let's put him away. Here's the really loud, annoying anarchist who makes people hallucinate and act not like themselves. Let's put him away. Here's the giant Dinobot who does a ton of property damage every time he turns around. Let's put him away. So it's not necessarily cons that have done huge, awful crimes. Again, we don't know what Steeljaw's rap sheet is, but we know that Uncle PJ had a whole mafia empire going.
That is true.
So I feel like we have a few cons that are definitely up there and definitely needed to be put away, and a whole lot of cons that were just like, you are super annoying and not worth rehabilitating, and we don't want to deal with you, so bye.
Does anybody think that there's also a possibility about, like, in terms of, because we've already established that old Cybertron was very regimented and there was obviously a hierarchy. Does anybody feel like maybe the animal-based Transformers were oppressed, or maybe that there was some prejudice against them?
It could very well be, because, I mean, previously in Transformers, particularly in Prime, which this is essentially a sequel to, we didn't see lots of sort of earth animal based. We didn't see any earth animal based
and everyone
creatures.
was really surprised when Predaking popped, because they've been extinct. So I'm wondering if maybe it was one of those things where they're like, these types of Transformers are problematic, let's ship them away.
Well, Predaking also seemed like they were a whole other species.
Yeah, no, Predacons were different, and they made that clear in Prime that Predacons are different than Dinobots. So
but somehow Dinobots are still kind of considered Transformers, but Predacons are a whole other people.
I don't know. It raises more questions about Cybertron. They just don't seem to be on the up and up.
I really, really want the World Bible.
I know.
I just want to sit down and read that and highlight the hell out of it and use all my little sticky tabs, and that thing will be a rainbow by the time I'm done with it, but I will know so much.
Should we get back to Quillfire?
We should probably get back to Quillfire.
Arif is in the chat.
Yes, I was about to mention that. Arif, hello. We were discussing before we started taping this episode. We're like, how much you want to bet Arif's going to be in the chat? He is. And he agreed with Lord Megatron on something.
See? What? We can get along.
Have you joined the winning side? Knockout.
I did like somebody in the live chat, I think it was Beast Wars fan, was Megatron, are you not entertained?
Yep.
I would watch that
about
movie.
Quillfire, just heroes of the revolution never come along quietly. He is totally a 14-year-old with grandiose ideas of who he is.
It's kind of cute. Also,
It's cute, except for the fact that he can really, really screw people
really
up because he
can.
has venom.
Yeah.
And has no compunctions about using it.
And
can you
also-
imagine if all of those quills had hit instead of just the one?
And also, up until the end of this episode, probably is one of those people that doesn't really understand what he's doing to people, how it really affects them. Because when those quills land on him, he's like, I don't really feel well, because he's never had a taste of his own medicine.
Yeah.
Probably not. I would have liked to have seen how it affected him, though.
Yeah.
And we didn't see that. We just kind of
He just
froze
kind of
him.
passed out.
Yeah.
I would love to see him still under the effects of the venom because, he's frozen. And so if that was still in him, then, hey.
That would make for a very interesting wake-up call.
I would love, and Steeljaw pulls him out, brother, and he's like, woohoo!
Anarchy! Woo!
And freeze him again. Right. Next one. But he runs around trying to free elephants from the carnival.
I really enjoyed that scene. I'm never gonna get tired of Decepticons in this show just talking to inanimate objects or unintelligent animals. Like, it just really entertains me for some reason.
I love that he was looking for a way to activate them.
And pulls the tail like, sure.
He was probably like, I did it! I freed them!
It's like, I just murdered a man. That poor cop.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure he's fine.
And then we kind of knew going into it that Quillfire was going to be taken down by Bee acting like a little kid. It's like you can kind of see the plot beats fall into place. This was one heck of a carnival to have a trampoline house built up. Those are usually stationary. That's impressive.
I mean, I really wonder what they make that out of. What kind of material is durable enough to hold the weight of a transformer?
Right.
And one with
Have you been
lots
on your
of quills.
usual backyard trampoline?
Yeah, but like, I mean, even those one, it's like, well, adults, we have weight limits for certain people.
But then if this is a carnival and you have a bazillion kids in the thing at the same time,
That is true.
I'm willing to stretch it because this is also 30 years into the future and we've probably made scientific advances on really stupid stuff.
Fair.
True story.
There's almost no other way to put it. But having Bee in the bounce house and Quillfire trying so hard to take him down and Bee just, I'm having a grand old time,
Yep.
whatever.
Yep. No intention of trying to catch Quillfire. Just
Screwing around.
Fun, and can you blame him? He's in a bounce house. Those are the best.
I want to
pretty
do one of
fun.
those.
Yeah.
Have you done one?
A bounce house?
There's literally one really close to us that we can all go to.
A trampoline place?
Yeah,
Should we
there's
all
a
go
trampoline
there?
Yeah,
arena.
it's literally on I think, what is it, like Canoga and
Yeah.
something or other. It's like 10 minutes away from here.
Yeah.
I've been there. My brother's had a birthday party there. I know exactly where it is.
We gotta go, guys.
Lead the way.
I will. I will totally do that.
Just don't bring any hedgehogs with
No, I won't.
you.
I won't bring them unless they bring coins or no gold
Rings.
wheels. Rings.
Which,
5 golden rings.
Was Quillfire meant to be a hedgehog, or was he meant to be more of a porcupine? Because
Does it
I thought
matter?
I thought he was a hybrid.
yeah, we see the blue quills and we immediately think Sonic the
Hedgehog.
Hedgehog.
Yep. Yeah.
I thought his special power was spinning really fast. to collect the rings.
And all the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. fans were like, oh, that's fun. Oh, now it hurts.
Poor Raina.
And it just, Quillfire, kind of a one-note villain.
I agree. Yeah, it's funny. Oh gosh, what was the name of the villain in the last episode? I'm totally drawing a blank on the Decepticon that had the Eugene
Ped.
voice. Yes, Ped. Right, because it made no sense. Except someone explained it to me that Ped means dirt, so it does make sense. I felt like he was almost a little more multifaceted.
He was.
than Quillfire was.
He had a little more going on upstairs,
Yeah.
but then again, he was more like a college student or
Totally.
a recent graduate who's been burned by too many things and never got over being bullied on the playground.
Yeah.
Whereas Quillfire is definitely a 14-year-old Redditor.
It is nice, though, that each of these, each of the Decepticons has their own motivation and that they're different motivations. It's not all just take down the Autobots. It's, I want respect. I want to take down authority. They're different forms of motivation, and I like that because I'm hoping that when we all have them come together, that all of their personalities are going to shine through.
Yes.
I agree.
It's frustrating to have a whole bunch of one-note characters and have them be just the focus of an episode. Like, yeah, there's not a lot to talk about with you. You're an anarchist. That's great. But it'll be interesting to put all those notes together.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think eventually once we see a Decepticon team up of sorts, if we do, it's going to be very interesting.
I think that's a win. I don't think that's an if. I think that's a win. They're telegraphing it pretty hard.
I cannot wait to see Steeljaw attempt that, because on the one hand, I think it would be hilarious to just try to get all these different personality types to mesh. On the other hand, if there's anybody who can talk his way into it, it's going to be Steeljaw.
I want an episode that is all Decepticons. You brought this up, and you're absolutely right. I want it. Don't even see the Autobots for an episode. Just focus on the Decepticons and focus on them putting this together. Let's see how Hungry Like the Wolf and Uncle PJ actually interact with each other when one of them has an exited stage left to go find more supplies. Let's see how they manipulate all these one-note, 2-bit Decepticons that they have in their hands.
That are either crazy or really young and not inexperienced. I was going to say stupid.
And then there's Underbite. Underbite actually is one of the few that was straight up dangerous and was super happy to be dangerous. So he will probably be more of a threat than the others.
Totally.
But he was also pretty one note. He ate it. So, yeah, just they've been one note, but they've been progressively more so.
Well, not
however that goes.
Not quite. They're all dangerous in their own way, and I would argue that, and like a Decepticon, like Springload that we had, is more dangerous because he's insane.
Oh yeah.
So I don't know. It'll like I said, I'm waiting for them to all come together, because as much fun as the one-off episodes are, they're one-off episodes. We were talking about it a little earlier. It feels a little like filler, enjoyable filler, really fun filler.
But
filler nonetheless. We're waiting for the next big plot point to drop,
because it's been a while since we felt that anyone was truly dangerous.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
Certainly dangerous. Oh, no.
Did someone Photoshop it? Oh, boy.
Our good friend Jack Skellington on the hashtag, who sent us wonderful things. I don't know which camera to look at, but he sent us a picture.
He did the Are You Not Entertained?
Oh, man. That is
makes
amazing.
Me so happy.
Wow.
Oh, thank you so much, Jack.
That was absolutely fantastic.
You just made my day. Thank you.
Yes, that. Can we talk a little bit about Fix-It?
Yes,
Just
sure.
Fix It for the little bit that we saw him in this episode. Into a drill.
He's still transformed.
I know, but how many transformations do minicons have?
I think it's awesome.
Oh, it's wonderful.
Well,
but it's also just like, holy cow.
I kind of like that he can change into different things depending on the circumstances and depending on who he's with, because that's something minicons are always really interesting, because they are there to supplement and assist the Autobots and or Decepticons depending on who they're with
the
at the
series,
time.
The interpretation, the characters.
Exactly.
Even the minicons have abandoned me. If you watch Armada, it's all about the minicons, and sometimes it's great, and sometimes it's like, why?
Gotta catch them all.
Exactly. It's essentially what it is. But that's Armada, and we do things a little differently here. Continue.
But yeah, I really liked that that we get to see Fix-It transform, and that he can change into different things depending on the circumstance.
Yeah, and I felt it was justified too, simply based on what we've seen out of Fix-It so far, where he's able to switch out, his hands to basically be whatever sort of tool is needed for the situation. So I agree. I think it illustrated his support role and just the extent of his possibly unexplored powers of transformation.
Again, it makes me worry about the minicons a little bit more, because they are so multifaceted and they are so adaptable. They just, I worry, just having watched Armada, I worry about them getting, taken for granted and abused and just generally, overworked or left to be alone on a prison ship for eons and eons.
Well, we did have, I don't even remember how many episodes it was ago, Strong Arm mentioned bringing up the regulation about a minicon will not leave their station for any reason.
Yes.
Just like, yeah, minicons aren't people, according to Cybertron, and I think we fought a war over stuff like this. Did we not? Did it last a couple millennia? The planet got destroyed, and why are we repeating the exact same mistakes? Because there's not a prime around.
Yeah,
exactly.
For anybody
And
who's
there ain't
just
gonna be one.
listening, we're nodding our heads emphatically over on this side of the table.
We're all just sitting here being really sad.
Same in the booth.
Same in the booth. The booth is also very sad.
Raz Mystical 01, Swindle, I choose you.
Oh my God.
And I do also want to shout out Macy Dalmatian right after that saying, Dalmatian. I'm sorry, I thought I read it wrong. Saying, does anyone think parts of this episode needed a laugh track?
Yes, please.
Yeah. I'm telling
completely
you,
agree.
this felt like a 90s, like, sitcom-esque cartoon. It was great.
That's a little wild. Can we talk about some of the stuff that B got up to?
Yes.
Because let's be real, that is
King
the
of
meat
Dryer
of this
Mountain.
episode. I'm the king of the dryer.
I will never be able to get that out of my head.
Which, again, I know I brought this up at the beginning of the episode, but I just loved hearing Will kind of fall back on the Ron Stoppable voice for this transformation.
That was so awesome.
Oh, it made me so nostalgic.
It was just like, yep. Yeah. But the rubber cement thing, I feel so bad.
the rubber cement thing just...
Well, for rubber cement, you need a blade.
Oh, yeah.
Having stuck things to things they shouldn't have been stuck to with that stuff, yeah,
Totally.
you want a blade. Mm-hmm. So pulling on... Don't look at me like that.
I kind of liked at the end when after Bumblebee has finally gotten over everything and he's all good, he's like, rubber cement. Classic. It was great.
I wonder if Sideswipe won't respect him a little more now, knowing that B kind of thinks along those lines when he's not trying to be Optimus.
Yeah, and what did you guys think of the solution, though, after TV didn't work, or it only worked for a short time up until commercials, and then, like, the actual solution? First of all, we should, before talking about how they kind of waited it out, we should probably talk about how he was a cowboy for a little bit in this episode.
First of all, they coerced him with a Western, which... Sideswipe is straight up crying. Like, I didn't think that was physically possible.
that
was
scene.
So freaking cool.
Which Western do you guys think would bring Sideswipe to tears,
Oh,
by the way?
Oh,
Are we
I don't know
talking The
enough about
Searchers,
Westerns.
Tombstone.
I was going to
The
say
Man with
Tombstone.
Tombstone. It might have been Tombstone.
I think it's Tombstone for sure.
No.
And Russell just like, yeah, I need popcorn, whatever. You are just desensitized to violence, aren't you,
Pretty
young child?
much.
I mean, it seemed like Denny was letting him watch Sons of Anarchy or something.
I would like to think that it wasn't Sons of Anarchy because I'd like to think that Denny isn't
better
that
dad.
bad of a dad.
Yeah.
Because holy cow, Sons
What
of
are you
Anarchy.
talking about? Denny wasn't in this episode.
I know. I was like, where's the
episode.
parent?
I know.
What's happening?
Yeah. It's like, how did my babysitters? I'm like, are you going to ask your dad? Oh, you probably haven't lived with your dad for a while.
Yep.
He may not be the best resource for
He
this.
tries, but yeah, I don't think he's the best
He
role
does.
model necessarily.
Gold star, you try.
Gold star.
But they both leave him
Well,
alone.
again,
It goes to commercial. Boring.
Denny has the same problem, actually, in terms of, like, I guess being a parental figure that kind of B has a little bit, in that he's just kind of a big kid himself. So it's like, you try your best as a parent, but you still have a lot of growing up to do.
Yeah.
I would agree with that completely.
Yeah, mom is probably the responsible adult, and mom's in Denmark,
Yep.
Copenhagen, right?
Copenhagen.
which I think is in Denmark.
Yeah.
Geography!
We're Americans. We don't know anything.
Oh, God.
Oh, God. No, Megan, no.
This show is set in a fictional city, so, like, we're good.
He is acting like a kid, but he's still smart enough to sneak around and hear what's going on. It's just a carnival!
Yes,
Oh.
Copenhagen is capital of Denmark.
Yes!
Yes.
Winner!
You win.
Nailed it.
Do you think they have carnivals on Cybertron?
I highly doubt
They
that.
have gladiatorial pits.
I was like, what do you mean, fun on Cybertron? Stop.
But he was on Earth before, and he's
That is
probably
true.
heard about that kind of stuff. Probably just from talking to Raph.
Yeah.
Oh, carnivals, those sound like a lot of fun. I'm never going to get to do one because I have to keep disguise up. But carnival, you kind of file that away.
Yeah, totally.
Wait, speaking of disguise, can we also talk about the opening of this episode of them just like like jumping over cars and stuff, and just in public. I was kind of like, so what happened to robots in disguise?
Total disregard
not so much.
for their cover.
Yeah.
To the point where Grimlock is carrying a car as he's running down in his Dinobot form.
I was like, what is happening?
Total disregard.
It looks cool.
Yeah, no, I loved it. I just thought it was funny because I was like, near the end of the like a little in the middle of the episode, strong. I was like, no, robots in disguise, and I'm like, you kind of just threw that out.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of that part, her actually using her police vehicle form.
That was so awesome.
I'm kind of surprised it took her that long to get there, but it was super
That's right,
smart.
I'm a law enforcement vehicle.
Robots in disguise.
I got sirens and everything.
I loved her excuse too. There's a motorcycle gang making illegal left turns every day.
And they just drove off.
I was going to say the fact that she's like, there's a motorcycle gang, they are making left turns, and the rest of the cops were like, oh, that's really important.
Stampeding elephants? You're right. This isn't a big deal.
I think it was more motorcycle gang than illegal left turns, because I'm sure the cops all watch Sons of Anarchy as well.
Sons of Anarchy is really popular in Crown City, which according to Sky Shimmer Tales in Ohio.
Crown City?
I thought I heard somewhere that it was like supposed to be in kind of Pennsylvania area. That's based off.
That makes sense.
I think there is an actual real life Crown City, Ohio.
Right.
But yeah, the one that we're working with is not
this
Ohio.
one. Yeah.
Just like there's Springfields all over the place, but they don't necessarily house the Simpsons.
Very true. There is a Springfield in pretty much every state.
Yeah.
Yeah. They could be everywhere.
Everywhere. And
Anyway,
anywhere.
we had a comment weeks ago that proposed a theory, and I'm starting to actually buy it, that the humans of the town are all in on it at this point. They all know that there are robots around, and they have different fan clubs where they talk about the robots, and oh, well, I hope this is going well for them, and I would tap that, but it's a robot. I don't care. I would tap that. There are some people.
Do you mean like there's like a like sideswipe like fangirl club?
Why not?
Why not?
But it's just at the point where it's like, oh, there was a sighting today. What was the excuse this time? Bird keepers. Really? Well, yeah, the evil robot was a giant bird. Oh, yeah, I guess that's the best they can come up with. Is that for the top 10 worst excuses list? Yeah, I think it is. That's like a number 7.
There are people all throughout the town who do vlogs and little panels of their own.
They selfie and they live stream.
Periscope.
Yeah,
That would be so funny to see periscoping of just them running around like the town, or the city.
It's like Cloverfield with brighter colors and fewer crabs.
Yeah.
Cloverfield traumatized me when I saw it. Okay, it messed me up.
I really like that theory because it makes me feel a lot better about the denizens of Crown City. Because
Otherwise, they're idiots.
I genuinely worry about them because in not to make too many references to Prime, but when we had Prime, people like. When they saw a giant robot, they recognized it as a giant robot.
They were concerned and were aware this was a little out of the ordinary.
And Nico and Jack couldn't always talk their way out of the situation. A lot of times, Agent Fowler had to actually pull strings to get people out of various jams and circumstances. And I kind of feel like that's something we haven't really had to deal with just because Crown City, they're not the sharpest tools in the shed.
They are not.
I am 100% with this theory that they're all in on it and they don't want to report anybody because they want to keep their crazy giant robots to the city.
Yep, makes sense. I completely agree with you.
So that would probably be why all the police officers peeled out. Like, oh, this is a robot situation. Oh, it's the police one. Okay, if they're telling us to leave, there's probably stuff going down. We should play along.
We'll just go.
We'll just
let them do their thing.
Yeah. And we'll be back in the morning to see what happened.
Is it cool, since we're talking about like little, like not mini series, but you know, I mean, like stuff like that. I feel like that'd be really cool to see someone who is like actively looking for our robots, and they're just like periscoping and vlogging and like, I found the junkyard, and like it would be so cool. I think.
Guys, I would be 1,000% up for that. That also explains why we had so many Cospigo Scientologists.
Yeah.
We want to fall in with a giant robot. Someone's looking for followers. Yes, I am a part of something bigger.
Wouldn't it be great if like somebody from Jasper, Nevada had come to Crown City because they were like, like, it's happening again.
Yes.
And the Crown City people are just like, oh, you know about them. You need to come to our club meeting.
Allie in the chat brought up that the Twitter hashtag for all of their pics of the bots would be hashtag only in Crown City.
Yes, I approve.
Do we also get Crown City problems?
Traffic jam on the 10 again today.
Caused by a Dinobot. Yes. Crown City problems.
Oh, I would love to see a Grimlock fan club. I think they would be so adorable.
I feel like this needs to happen. I kind of just want to see fans create this.
Yeah, I sort of want to make this. Like, let's just go, guys.
I feel like it's not canon, but I don't care because it's wonderful.
I know.
And honestly, they would be the people keeping the robot sightings off of the internet at large.
Totally.
To keep the government and whatnot from coming down on them. Because we saw
there are robots.
we saw the conspiracy sites and all that fun stuff in Prime, so we know it's a thing. And 30 years later, it's still going to be a thing. But I can see them going through and actively taking everything down and being like, no, there's no giant robots. I don't know what you're talking about. I live in Crown City, and this kind of stuff just never happens. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm going to be late to my fan club meeting.
I'm going to go to my Linda Lot meeting.
Yeah. Yeah, I love the idea that everybody in Crown City's in on it.
That makes me super happy.
Canon accepted?
Headcanon accepted. Oh my God! Petition to make it canon. So, couple more things I want to talk about before we wrap up. Being a cowboy. Just the fact that everything they tried to distract him with was Western theme by either showing him the Western or we need to round them up. It's like cowboys herding elephants. Yeah. Oh, I love cowboys.
Yep.
I know. And just the fact that she remembered that and is using it, she's quick on the uptake. Yeah. And then, can I be the cowboy riding the dinosaur? No. Yes.
Does anybody feel like one of the writers must be a Western fan?
Oh, yeah.
So I was thinking, for sure.
There has to be somebody who's a big fan of Western.
Yeah.
Because we had the what was his name? The buffalo. The buffaloid.
Oh, the buffaloid.
Oh, gosh.
Terrashock.
Terrashock.
Yes. Good. Nice.
Well remembered.
But we had that entire episode where they had to like kind of rustle up some cattle.
Yeah.
And they just had a ball with it.
Yeah, it seems like Westerns seem to be a little bit of a recurring theme here. So somebody on that staff.
So when we finally face off against either Thunderhoof or Steeljaw, I expect a tumbleweed to go across.
Yes. I expect the theme from The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Mm-hmm. Well, and as previously established, they no longer have the arm cannon, so we could get some like gun twirling.
Yeah, I just want a full-on Transformer Western happening. Like a showdown. It's going to be great.
You know, I don't know for sure if this is happening, but I think in like a week or two they're actually doing a musical on Rescue Bots. Oh
my God!
I need that in my life. I don't know. You guys understand how much I need this in my life.
This needs to happen.
Chaste singing.
I understand.
I want it.
He tried to write poetry once, and it was amazing. I cannot wait to hear him sing. If you guys don't watch Rescue Bots, you need to.
Do it.
Sing Rockabye Baby.
That was amazing. It's made for like 6-year-olds, and it's kind of on the. It's pretty heavy on the. I don't understand human culture. What is this? But it is one of the most clever made for young children shows I've seen in a very long time that hasn't been on the Disney Channel. It's a lot of fun to watch, and it has so much heart.
And LeVar Burton. So
I mean, occasionally extremely high stakes, and occasionally it's like, I needed those heartstrings. And, you know, jokes that kids will be like, oh, that's kind of funny, and adults will be like, oh, they went there.
They made a shipping joke once.
Yes! They made multiple horror movie jokes, one right after the other, with the bots arguing what aliens are.
Oh, so great.
It's like, oh no, it's the blob. Oh no, it's xenomorphs. Oh no, it's this. You realize we're aliens, right?
But I am a firm believer that adding the musical to anything makes it better. And I would love for Robots in Disguise to do that, just so we could hear Mitchell do his Jean Valjean monologue with Fix-It.
I want to go to there.
Yeah, so ask Mitchell about his Les Mis rewriting of Fix-It's role.
It is the best thing ever.
And it's amazing. And just last thing I wanted to bring up was they essentially treated B like you do a drunk and or high college student, and you just corral them until they come out the other side.
Well, exactly, because I mean, they had all basically resigned themselves to the fact that we can't do anything about this. Just kind of like when your friend gets a little too drunk.
You gotta wait for them to sober up. Yeah.
It's not enough to have to call the hospital, but it's enough that you gotta deal with this. Yeah. So they somehow managed to get him on top of a tower with a giant clown face on it, oddly enough, and chained him up there. It's like, no, it's a lot of fun. Just stay. Okay. I'm waiting for the fun part. And then in the morning,
where's the awesome? I'm waiting for the awesome.
Strong arm, you said this ride was awesome. When does it get awesome?
Just the fact, how did they get him up there and then chain him up there, and then they just whatever?
It might have been. It looked like it was one of those rides that goes up and down. That like literally like Tower
you think
of
it might have been like a Tower of Doom sort of thing?
Tower of Terror.
Oh, no, the Tower of Doom is the one where it's just straight up and straight down. Tower of Terror has the whole theme and everything.
Yeah, motif and Twilight
Or like
Zone
the Lex Luthor, whatever
the Lex
they call it at Six Flags.
Where
where basically you go up, you sit there, and you go down.
Even in Zombieland, they had a ride. That's where those two characters got
that movie
stuck.
was so good.
It's so good. It's a fun movie.
So you think they got him up just on top of the Tower of Doom and left him there?
I really
They
think
can
they
do that.
chained him up, flipped the switch, wait till it got to the top, and just turned the switch back up.
I was going to say, Alexis
Yes,
knows.
I was as a former ride operator, it is possible for you to hit the stop button and just leave you up there. That's usually for other safety reasons. We don't usually just throw people we don't like or whoever needs to be up there for a timeout.
You need to sober up.
You know, have fun with that.
You can only come down when you come down.
Exactly. But what about the awesome Megan Tron?
And then him just waking up and being like, oh, what did I do last night?
He sounded a little hungover,
That's true.
He probably was a little hungover.
Poor thing.
But that was wonderful, and Strong Arm learned that being the leader is not all it's cracked up to be.
She sure did.
Yep. And Sideswipe just, you're not going to tell on me, are you?
Like, no, as long as you're not going to tell on me.
It's like, yeah, let's all accept that we really need him to be leader because nobody else wants to do this.
Nope.
And I do like when somebody has to step it up into the leadership position and then step back, and that they have a newfound appreciation for what that person does. And I think this was a good lesson for Strong Arm to learn.
I agree.
So do we think we're going to get a little more respect for B from these three?
You know?
It just
Probably not. Silence.
It depends on the episode.
I was going to say,
true. That's very true.
I really want to say yes, particularly on the part of Sideswipe, because I do think that he saw that he and B might be more of kindred spirits than he thinks.
Yeah.
But then again, though I love him very dearly, it's still Sideswipe.
It's still Sideswipe. He's a speedster.
Well, and again, even when they learn lessons, we've seen from previous episodes that sometimes it takes more than one episode for that lesson to really sink in.
Yeah.
It's not nearly as bad as animated Thank You Primus.
I know.
But nonetheless, it does take a little time.
Yeah.
So, predictions. What do we think is gonna happen next?
And now,
I love the light show.
your AfterBuzz TV predictions.
Oh, it is the best.
I know.
Alexis, do you have any predictions?
You know what's funny? I was actually going to ask you guys that because I actually don't have any this time. I'm really hoping, because it felt like a filler episode and we talked about that already, that I kind of want to get back on. I want to see more Decepticons and get back on track. Yeah.
I agree with you, Alexis, that I'm definitely in this sort of space right now of, okay, so my prediction is the next episode we're going to get another animal Decepticon filler.
It's like a Monster of the Week kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Monster of the Week sort of formulaic episode, which isn't bad. I mean, they're still entertaining, but I do feel that this week did very little to advance the actual plot. So I'm left wondering where it's going.
Yeah. I am with you guys on that one. As and don't get me wrong, I like certain episodes of filler. Like some of my favorite episodes from certain animated series are filler episodes for the most part. One of my favorite Full Metal Alchemist episodes is a filler episode because it was very much needed. It was the Warehouse 13 one. I love that episode for this, and the one where they're trying to get. I think it might have been the same one where they're trying to set up Havoc with.
Yes, it's the same episode. They cut back and forth too.
Where they make the 4-coma from the manga into actual episodes.
Yes, and that was one of my favorite episodes because it was much needed comic relief. But you can only kind of do those one-off comic relief ones for so long before you're like, okay, we got to get back to the plot. And we haven't seen our big bads for a couple episodes.
Exactly.
And I'm hoping that we get back to that, and I'm hoping that basically just what we've been saying, that we see a villain team-up episode soon.
I do have to say, I think I have a slightly more on point prediction. I'm sorry, I said the wrong thing.
You're like, these girls are derailing me.
Yes, everyone derails my chat. I never get on topic.
Whenever Star screams.
Shut up. I think I might have a little more insight just because of the back end work I've been doing for guest booking. But extrapolating from that, I think we're getting Fyffi's backstory next week. This is me saying, I have a penny. Here's $1 worth of predictions. But this, I'm going pie in the sky.
Oh my gosh!
I would love to see that.
Now I got my hopes up.
I know.
I'm good at that.
Dang it.
Notes of Starscream. But that's what I really sincerely hope will happen next week. Bottom line, we see some new characters, we meet some new people, and, it'll be fun.
I hope we get another mini-con soon, because I would love for Roger to come back into the studio at some point.
You know who we have next week, right?
I was going to say, I'm like, Megan, what is happening to you right now?
Again, this is what happens when
we're going to leave all of you in suspense as to whom you think is coming into the studio next week. I will definitely love to see the guesses on Twitter. And if the people who are coming in are watching this and would love to spoil the heck out of the fans, feel free. But we'll see you all next week. For now, Alexis, where can the people find you?
Hold on.
I completely blindsided you.
I was like,
everything.
so many things. You can find me all over social media as ATorres89. I also want to shout out to this awesome lady, Burrito Princess, which this is her website right now. She makes awesome. I'm trying to do this all at once here. She makes awesome, really cool 8-bit things. She made these for our panel. You should go check her out on Etsy. She makes awesome stuff. She makes magnets, necklaces, bows, dream catchers, frames, cake toppers, everything that you can think of. She's fantastic.
The Pokemon hair ties.
I know.
The Pokemon hair ties.
They're awesome.
Oh my god.
So please go check them out. Burrito Princess on Etsy. Look her up. She is fantastic. You'll love her. And the panel definitely loves her too.
Yes, we love our necklaces.
Yes. I feel like a dork. I left mine at home. I did some cleaning yesterday and put it in a different place, and so I didn't grab it. But I will gladly wear it next time. I just feel bad for forgetting it.
Don't worry about it.
So much, Burrito Princess.
Yes, we love our necklaces.
But again, you can find me all over the interwebs, ATorres890.
Emma?
And you can find me all over the internet at Emma Fyffe. That's all I'm going to say.
Nothing else? All right.
I do lots of things. Follow me on Twitter, guys. You'll hear all about it.
And I'm Megan. You can follow me on Twitter at @themenguin. That's TheMenguin. I'm also on a bunch of shows here at AfterBuzz. And I also started writing articles for the movie Chick with 2 Ks. Be sure to check those out.
And I'm Katie Cullen. You can find me on Twitter, Tumblr, and Instagram at Kiaxet. That's KIAXET. You can also find me on Snapchat at Kia Prime. My other show at AfterBuzz is the Red vs. Blue After Show. We had an awesome episode last week. Thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to tune in next week. And as always, transform and roll out!
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.